Hey
Hey everyone,
everyone, I'm Emma,
I'm Jess.
and welcome to the Blurb Society podcast. Happy March.
All right, so we've been MIA. We were supposed to review this book, which is what our blurb for the day is. We're reviewing the book A Twisted Tale Anthology, but we were all sick, so unfortunately it took us a little longer to get back here. But thank you for joining us.
So, as we said, today we're going to be reviewing A Twisted Tale Anthology. This is a fantasy, and it's a collection of short stories written by a bunch of different authors, but it was edited by Elizabeth Lim. So we're going to be using our printable book club questions guide that you can find over on our Instagram. The link is in our bio if you want to follow along. And if you read with us, be sure to comment down below what you guys thought of this book as well. But we're going to start with the writing style, so like or dislike.
So I liked it. Obviously it's an anthology, so it was by different authors. The writing was detailed, descriptive. I thought it was really well done. And it made me want to read things I normally wouldn't want to. Like one of the ones that I probably wouldn't have read was Rattle the Stars and Dust to Dust. But I think, you had talked about. So what do you think about it? What did you think about the writing style?
I like the writing style. I also think it was really good because if like it's a short story, so you don't have as much time to like explain everything, but I think everybody did a really good job of like world building enough so that you knew what was going on and who was involved.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, next up, instead of doing like or dislike the trope, since this was a bunch of anthologies, there wasn't one specific trope, we decided to do which one of all of the short stories was our favorite. So, what was yours?
Mine was Dust to Dust. It was the story about Peter Pan. Honestly, can I remember why? I think it was because the story revolved around Tinkerbell, but it was the Peter Pan story. And it was going through, she made a decision, basically a life decision, and then she, kind of had to go with what was given to her. She was a little surprised by what that led to, and then she kind of turned things around. So that was why it was my favorite.
Okay, my favorite was Call It a Hunch, which was the story based on Hercules, and it was just my favorite because I'm a big fan of like Greek mythology and stuff like that. So it was one that I enjoyed reading about, and shortly after finishing this book, we ended up watching Hercules, and it was my first time watching the like animated movie.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
And I thought it was really good. So it was just a fun time, I think.
I liked it too. You like Percy Jackson, so that kind of goes
Yeah.
along with that. And I never been a fan or could follow it. I can't say I'm not a fan. I just can't follow it as well. I think you do a great job of being able to figure out all those the gods and all of
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I could see that.
Okay, and then next up, favorite character. So we're going all in on this one, guys. We have a favorite character for each of the short stories. So you can go first.
Do you want me to go down and tell all of them, or
Oh,
each
we can go back and forth.
Okay. So at a cast out, my favorite was, and that's the story of Snow White. My favorite character was Mirror.
Mine was also the mirror. I just liked how they gave the mirror a personality beyond what you saw in the movies.
Yeah, regular Snow White. Yeah. A First Mission, which is the story about Milan, and my favorite character was Milan.
My favorite character was Shang because he's kind of hot.
Oh dear.
But no, I just liked his presence, I think, throughout the whole story.
Yeah, I like their dynamic together too.
Yeah.
Et Voila is the story of Ratatouille, and my favorite character was Colette.
Mine was Remy. Just classic.
Yeah, I mean, I love Remy, but in this particular story, for some reason, I liked Colette. The next one up is The Envelope, which was the story of Cinderella, and my favorite character was Anastasia.
My favorite character was Benoit because I liked how he didn't resent her just because of what happened in her family, and he still tried to help her kind of figure out her history and all of that.
Yeah, he was a good guy, and I guess it came from whatever his past was. People looked at him a certain way, and so, he understood where she was coming from, so he was able to help her out. The next one is A New Dawn, which was a story of the Lion King, and my favorite character was Simba.
My favorite character was Nala.
Okay.
She was just kind of a girl boss, feminine,
Yeah.
feminine vibes.
Rattle the Stars was the story of Treasure Planet, and I didn't write one down, so I guess I don't have a favorite character. I didn't like this particular story, so
Well, we've also never seen Treasure Planet, and
yeah.
we don't know the story behind it, so it was kind of like I found it really weird. Like I don't know, I just think I'm not like familiar with the original, so I didn't know as much what was actually going on, but I wrote down Captain Amelia just because she was I don't know, she was a woman, she was a captain. I was like, she seems like a good person.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Out of all of them, she was a good one. A Royal Game of Chess was the story of Robin Hood, and my favorite character was Cluck.
yeah, mine was also Lady Cluck. I liked her. She gave like motherly vibes.
Yeah, she was cute. The Secret Exchange was the story of Little Mermaid, and my favorite character was Sebastian.
My favorite character was Eric.
There's a theme here.
No.
The next story was Dust to Dust. It was Peter Pan, and my favorite character was Wendy.
My favorite character was Tinkerbell, just because I've always been a Tinkerbell girl, so I loved her.
Yeah, I like her too. Gonna Take You There is the story of Princess and the Frog, and my favorite character was Naveen.
My favorite character, I have two, because they were kind of tied, but Tiana and Lottie, because I liked both of them, and they were both just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Fates 3 is the story of Brave, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, but it's Hamish?
Hamish. Yeah, I said Hamish too. I don't know, I just liked him out of the three. I liked all the triplets, and I liked this story a lot. But
yeah, it was a cool story. Missed Merida, but that's okay. She was mentioned in there anyway. Dragon in the Snow was the story of the Sword and the Stone, and my favorite character was Merlin.
Mine was also Merlin. Again, this was one that we like weren't really familiar with, so it was kind of like just going with the flow of whatever we were given, but I liked Merlin.
Yeah, he seemed again like a nice guy, and I liked his part in this story. The Journey Home was the story of Beauty and the Beast, and I loved Belle.
Yeah, I also said Belle. She's my favorite princess, so I kind of had to. I must say, this was, I think, the most underwhelming story for me in the whole thing, because for me it was very like not a lot really happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like Beauty and the Beast was a hard one to try and put a twist in, because the Beast is like such a crucial part, and then with the twist that we had in this one, there was just Belle never even discovered him, so I thought that was kind of disappointing, but I see why they had to do it because of how long it would have taken to develop the thing,
in a
but
short story, yeah. I want to say that I liked this story, and I liked Belle in it just because she pretty much took care of herself in this thing. So I thought it was kind of funny, with the twist to Gaston and who is he, LeFou. So not needing, anybody's help and just being independent. So
yeah,
that was cool for me. Call It a Hunch is the story of Hercules, and my favorite character was Meg.
My favorite was, again, tied Hercules and Meg, because I just like their dynamic a lot.
Yeah, I could see that. Like I said, I don't know the stories that well, but I liked her in this one. The Reluctant Prince is the story of Bambi, and my favorite character was Flower.
My favorite was Thumper.
Yeah, and I think I'm stuck on Flower because I told Emma I used to have a little stuffed animal that was a skunk like Flower, and it was Pepe Le Pew though, with a little rose, and he was my favorite stuffed animal. No idea where that thing is, but I still loved him. So The Rose and the Thorn was the story of Sleeping Beauty, and my favorite character was Philip.
Mine was also Philip.
For different reasons.
No, I mean, partly yes, because he's cute, but also just because he was a nice man.
Yes, he was.
Okay. Next up, we're doing favorite quote.
Oh dear.
So, I have two. The first one I can read to you guys, but I have to find the other one in the book because I forgot to write it down. But the first one is from Call It a Hunch, and it says, I'd say taking things one step at a time, listening as much as possible, more of this. He hugged her and Meg smiled. I just thought it was sweet.
I'll give you one of mine. It was from the story of First Mission, which was Milan, and it said the Emperor's oldest, most valued advisor spent the journey sleeping in the carriage, basking in the northeast sun as he absorbed the details of the imperial edict and map during his slumber. It was just funny because he was doing nothing and he fell asleep, and they were just, mocking him that he was just taking it all in through his nap.
Yeah. My second one was from Dust to Dust, which was the Tinkerbell story. And it says, it's like literally the last thing that's in the story. And it says, Tinkerbell would also tell you, yes, you can fly. Search, seek, find the mission, the magic. It may be powerful, strong, and frightening, but it need not be dark. Indeed, it's out there for those who believe.
Yeah,
And
that one's really good.
yeah, I like that one a lot.
My only other one that I have here was Dust to Dust, and it says, a handle to be welded, a spout to be widened. It was all so dreary when the sky was such a riotous shade of blue and the dragonflies begged to be raced. That was Tinkerbell when she was told that she had to, do some tinkering, and she was just tired of it. So.
Yeah. Okay, next up, we're gonna skip how does it compare to other books by the same author, mainly because there's so many authors, and I also don't think we've read any other books from these authors. So I do have one on my TBR from, I don't know how to say her name, Farah Rochon. I said that's
Farah Rochon, maybe? I'm not sure.
I said that so wrong. I'm so sorry, but it's her Bemused book, which is the tale. It's like the story of the muses, the goddesses of the arts, which were the characters who actually narrated Hercules' story in the movie. And so now that I've seen the movie, I'm excited to read that one and figure out their story. But we're going to go to the next question, which was if you could ask the author, for this one we're doing authors, one question, what would it be?
Mine was an overall saying that since it was Disney stories that they were able to work on and cover and even change. What were they feeling when they were writing? Was it like joy of that opportunity to be part of Disney, or was it more stress to get it perfect, or was it both? I'm just curious about that.
Mine was also for just all of the authors, but I said, do you prefer your version or the original? Because, like I said, some of them, it's like, I don't love the changes that were done, but then other ones, I'm like, wow, that was a really good idea. So I'm wondering if they, like, personally would prefer what they did to it or the original.
You want to say, how could they answer that? Maybe is because without insulting somebody else, but also without insulting themselves. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay. But the difference is, like you stated before, they're short stories. There's only so much that you can put in there. So I think they, did well for what they had as far as the space.
And then thoughts on the cover art?
I thought it was beautiful, dark, and mysterious.
I said beautiful and mysterious.
There you go.
Yeah, I said beautiful and mysterious. I also said kind of ominous. And I said it gives me like fantasy, like dark fantasy vibes.
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cover.
And then our star rating, what did you rate it?
I had all separate ones. So did you rate just the whole thing?
Oh, yeah, I did overall rating for the book.
So I would say mine overall was probably a 4.5 stars.
I also said 4.5. Once I finished this book, I originally rated it a 4, but then I had time to kind of like think about it and process it. And then when we came back to prep for this episode, I was like, oh, like I actually liked it more than I thought once I finished it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Would you recommend it?
I would, yeah.
I also would. And then any other notes
I have a
anything.
list of notes.
I have a few
Um,
things.
I put down that the book pages have an age look to them, and it was difficult for me reading these because I have like bad eyesight. So that was one of my
Mm.
small little issues. I love the sense of humor in Et Voila, which was the Ratatouille story. It just surprised me. Dust to Dust, that again was something. I love the twists and the ending. The Fates Tree, that was fun to read, and I say all this. Uh, One of my notes, my last note, was that I don't think either myself or Emma would have finished this, and I'm only speaking maybe. I don't think so.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the podcast review, only because you made a good point, and you can state that. If I don't know if that's
Oh yeah,
part of
that's what I had
okay.
in here. Oh,
Yeah.
but I said so I had in here it was long and it felt kind of repetitive in the moment because the way I described it was I don't know if anybody else had the like Disney 5-minute bedtime stories
Yeah.
when you were a kid, but it was like the big books and it was like a collection of a bunch of little stories, and those stories you don't sit there all night and read the entire book with every single story at once. So this book felt like a book where you were supposed to like read one or two, put it down, pick up a different book, and then pick it up again and read one more, and kind of read it when you just wanted to read something short.
Yeah.
But obviously, we couldn't do that because we had a deadline that we tried to meet.
And didn't.
But either way, that's kind of what it felt like for me, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I would just say if you want to read this, I would say maybe don't try and read it all at once. Not like split it up with other books while you're also reading this one, if you can do that, because I know some people don't like to do that.
I It was one of those that, like I said, in one hand, it was good because we finished it because of
Right.
this purpose. On another hand, when I'm saying that, it's not like they were bad. Every story I picked up, once I started reading, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
the writing was impeccable. I mean, the quality of the writing, I think for most of these stories, if not all of them, was really well done. Again, for being short stories, you're only going to get so much content, and they did a great job. Whether or not I like certain stories in general is not anybody else's fault, but the writing on each of them was so well done. So that surprised me, and like I said, it pushed me to finish this thing. But it was difficult. It was difficult.
Yeah, and then the other notes I had was the last one I had was you could still enjoy any of these stories without knowing what the original story was. So for a lot of them, I mentioned like for Robin Hood, Treasure Planet, Sword in the Stone, like all of those, we've never seen those movies. We don't know the original story that they then put a twist on. We're just kind of going based off of what we're reading. And I think that like I still was able to understand what was going on through the short story and through how they wrote it. So I thought that was a good positive of this book and the
Def-
writing style.
Definitely. Yeah. So we also have to say, I think Emma mentioned that if you read this book with us, please, leave a comment about, if you liked it, what maybe your favorite story was, if you would recommend it to anyone else. And also, we're going to tell you our next book for March.
We I'm not gonna say we promise, but we like halfway promise that it's gonna happen. Oh. Our next book for March is gonna be A Fine Romance by Susan Branch, and it's her like basically personal diary of the 2 months that she spent in England with her husband for was it for their anniversary?
No,
No.
I don't think so. No, they had traveled there once before. It's kind of based on a story of how they met, and they, talked about having the same interests, and somehow they were both interested in traveling on the QE2. Is that right? And then taking that trip across the ocean to England, and they did do that once earlier than what this kind of journal is about. But this one, yeah, I hope you guys pick this one up and read it. Even I don't know if they would have it in the library or not, but if you are able to pick this one up and read it, and then follow along with our book club questions later on when we review it later this month, I think you'll enjoy it. If you like anything to do with history, with the English countryside, anything like that.
Yeah, we also did some recipe testing today for our spring adventure kit that we're going to be putting out later this month. But I like this first recipe that we're going to try. I don't know. It was a controversial topic in this household, but I kind of liked it. So you guys can try it for yourselves once we release everything. But with that being said, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for spending time with us, and stay tuned because our next blurb is in the works.
All right. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Blurb Society for more frequent updates, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Blurb Society.
Talk to you
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.